What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sisters. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans, hope everyone is doing well. Let's go ahead and jump right into the review. This is for Season 2, Episode 5, entitled Up in Flames. Andy finds success at work, but new problems arise with Gary. Technically, would you even call them new problems? It feels like Andy just grew a backbone to confront Gary on the problems she's been experiencing with him since Season 1. Maurice returns to work when he thinks that he's being replaced. Danny wonders if Preston could be racist. Alright, so before going further into the review, make sure you take a moment to like the video, hit subscribe, go ahead and click the bell to turn on all notifications, and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. 8 out of 10. I thought this was a pretty solid episode. If nothing else, it really just goes to show you really pick sides in this show more than almost any other Tyler Perry show in regards to like when a woman is wrong, when a woman is right, because it almost feels like I'm kind of, switching sides, like, on like, one episode I might think Danny's in the right, but then one episode I might think Danny's in the wrong, and the same can be said about the other main ladies as well. So Up in Flames is definitely an appropriate title. So let's go into this because Andy is quite the character in this particular episode. So we have Fatima calming down Andy, who's, just, I guess you could say, overwhelmed with emotion because it definitely seems like things went well when it came to dealing with Bellamy, her other bosses looking into the FBI's investigation, and if everything clears, then Andy is good to go. It's just a matter of, Gary being exonerated if, he's innocent or not. But in any case, she thanks Fatima for having her back, and even though they don't know each other that well, Fatima's like, hey, we got to look out for each other. We're sisters. And I'm like, aw. So then after that, we have Andy inviting her out. It's like, hey, we got this thing going on tonight. And that's in reference to the gay bar, which again, I believe Calvin's father's will, it was just to have like, a drag queen show. And then in order to help Maurice out, considering he was a victim of assault due to his orientation, they're going to make it like a charitable event for him as well. So it's kind of, cool how that turned out. But yeah, the girls are going to be there and they invite different characters as the show goes on. So we got Andy inviting Fatima, and after that, she's on her way out with the box, and then she runs into Paris. And if you don't know who Paris is, his grandmother was the janitor or custodial worker who works at the law firm, and Andy actually helped her out because she had passed out or something, and she called 911, and then that's how Paris and her got introduced. And Andy hadn't called, which is ironic because if you watch this week's episode of Bruh, then John and Charlie went through a similar situation. Charlie being a female, she does a lot of not construction, but maintenance work and whatnot. And she gave John her number weeks ago, but he never called her. And when I say weeks ago, I mean episodes ago. But in the context of Bruh, I would say it's only been about 48 hours. So moving on from that, he's like, hey, I know you're in a relationship, but I wanted to take you out for dinner. And Annie's like, well, if I'm in a relationship, then why would you invite me out to dinner? It's like, well, the way I see it, until a ring's on the finger, I still have time to place my bid. Place your bid? Just go for it. I'm not something that you win. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend. Basically, the title itself, Up in Flames, because he cannot do anything. I mean, Paris is just like, well, his name is Paris. It's almost like he jumped off the Eiffel Tower. His parachute came unloose. He has no chicken feathers to flap around. Like, he's literally tail spinning to the ground with Andy in flames. So his chances were definitely shot to hell. And Andy leaves in a huff. And she's, gone. Turns out that, Harris is there to pick up his check. I guess he I forgot what he does, like delivery or something. I honestly forgot. I remember the character of Paris. I just forgot what he does. I mean, I think he was there to pick up a check or something, and he was talking to Fatima to hopefully put in a good word for him with Andy. But she's like, look, Andy's going through a lot right now. And then another thing of interest when he was talking with Andy is like, well, it can't be going so great, huh? What do you mean it's not going so great? It's like, well, I was here when the FBI was here and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's office gossip about what happened between Andy and Gary. So after that, we switch over to Sabrina going into work. Her boss is there. Turns out Sabrina did nothing wrong, but the FBI still wants her apparently suspended for 3 days instead of 3 weeks, and her boss tells her to sign a waiver. She says she'll deal with the board, just get to work. We got a new guy. I believe it's either Jacoby or Colby. I'm sorry I didn't catch the name, but he's a new guy to train, and he'll be using Maurice's window number 2. Wait, is it window number 2? Or basically the window right next to Sabrina. And when he's brought over to begin training, she goes on the phone real quick to call Maurice. And I mean, her boss pretty much stated that, hey, yeah, I know that's Maurice's window, but it's right beside yours, and we're just going to have him up in that station to train until Maurice comes back. So Sabrina calls Maurice, I'm guessing because she's like, oh, Maurice, they're trying to replace you. And basically, as soon as I think Sabrina says cute guy, he leaves the club because he's there with Calvin trying to get things ready for the night, and he goes right down to the bank. So from there, we have Sabrina's trying to help him get ready, and it's all, wow, you smell good. It's like, yeah, I shower sometimes, so let's get back to work, because apparently he was trying to flirt, but she wasn't having it. It reminds me of Al on the Haves and the Have-Nots, helping out Hannah learn the executor business, and then as soon as he says something about her eyes, she's like, oh yeah, let's get back to work. Okay. So from there, we go to Danny calling Preston. She does this a couple of times in the episode. In this case, she's in her car on break using her vape pen, trying to call Preston to talk about what happened in regards to, being handcuffed and everything. But then one of her coworkers, one of the older guys, I forgot his name, calls in because apparently Zach has been answering his phone. He hasn't come into work. Obviously, we know he's in jail, but nobody else does. And, Danny's like, cover for him or he's going to lose his job. Like, look, his record, it was hard enough to give him this job. Now he's not even coming in. It's not like him. So at least they give Zach the benefit of the doubt that, this kind of behavior is something that isn't something that's common. I mean, he's well aware that this job was something that was a hard enough gig for him to get, given his, being ex-con. So to hear that he's diligent about work, that's actually pretty admirable. So from there, she gets a phone call. Well, actually, she calls Karen, who's at the salon, asking where Zach is. And Karen's like, oh yeah, he came to the hotel, got into it, Aaron got arrested. That's it. He's in jail. You didn't get him out? No. And it's like, girl, you better get him out. He's going to lose that job. I don't care. I mean, I'll get to that later. Okay. So from there, we have Andy showing up at the salon, pretty much giving Karen the play-by-play about what happened at the law firm. And the fact that, hey, Gary is telling the truth. I saw Paris, and Andy's really wishy-washy, to be completely honest. Like, you fly off. I'm not saying that Paris was saying the right things to Andy. I mean, yeah, Andy walking off on him, I get it, because Paris wasn't doing himself any favors. But now all of a sudden, she's happy about what happened at work. She's happy that Gary's telling the truth. And then as soon as she mentions Paris, Karen's like, but what about Gary? Wait, what? I'm just like, wait, huh? So from there, she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take this $250,000 and put it in a safety deposit box. And I'm glad Karen brought up, you can't put that in the bank safety deposit box. I like that kind of thing, because I was going to nitpick about that. And from there, we have them talking about, the club tonight. They're going to have fun. And, Karen pretty much tells her about the situation with Zach. And I like the bit between Karen and Andy's like, oh, I like your dress. Looks like wallpaper. Free Zach. I'm like, what the? I thought it was a cute dress. Karen's hair, little boots with the heels and everything. I don't know. I think she looked good. All right. But here's the thing. Why should Karen feel bad? Look, I might have to do a separate video or at the very least a poll on the YouTube community tab, but I don't, it's not her responsibility. Like, I know some people might say, well, Zach saved her life. True, but that doesn't make up for Zach making a dumbass decision. If Karen doesn't get him out of jail, then so what? And look, all I'm saying is this. I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but if Andy's up there saying get him out of jail, why doesn't she take $5,000 out of that $250K to get him out? That's all I'm saying. Like, I mean, $5,000 is $5,000. That's a lot of money. So I don't feel like it's Karen's responsibility to pay for Zach's hot-headed decision. Hell, why doesn't Pam put up the $5,000? I mean, she was the one to run her mouth in this situation anyway. And yeah, she was being nosy, but I still don't blame anyone but Zach for making that stupid ass decision. So yeah. So from there, we got Maurice coming into the bank with a walker because look, there are cameras in here. I'm on disability leave, so I'm going to, walk in with this walker. And he instantly, gets into it with the new guy, makes him move down a few windows, tells Sabrina that, no, I'm going to train him. And then Sabrina's like, no, I'm training him. You need to calm down. And yeah, pretty much, off screen while they were working together, he's a quick study. He had about 3 years in a credit union. And apparently while they were talking, it seems like they hit it off pretty well. He's funny and Sabrina might be a bit attracted to him. And to be completely honest, it wouldn't surprise me how that turns out because here we are with a guy who clearly isn't questionable as to what he's interested in, or excuse me, who he's interested in, unlike Calvin. So from there, Maurice just snaps on him because I think Sabrina, Andy comes in, and is this like the first time Andy has been in the bank? I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. This one is the first time. I guess maybe because seeing Andy smiling like this is different because so far this season she's been looking so sour and down, but to actually see her legitimately happy makes a lot of sense. So she has this bag of money trying to get a safety deposit box, and I'm thinking to myself, Sabrina, is this then I guess Sabrina knows what she's doing because like her boss said, she did nothing wrong, which still begs the question of why she would have got suspended for 3 days. But I don't know. The FBI didn't audit the bank, so it is what it is. But yeah, Sabrina takes it to the back. Maurice pretty much snaps on the new guy saying, look, I know the district federal manager, and like, who are you to get this job? Like, oh, you doing her or whatever? Maurice just coming on a bit too strong, but at least he isn't trying to come on to Jacoby. So that's one thing, because that's something that I noticed a lot of fans posting about in the Facebook group, how they're just playing up Maurice way too much with this stereotypical, homosexual behavior. Like, you got to hit on so many straight guys, and then that's how you got beaten in the first place. Again, go to the Facebook group. Link is in the description. That's what some people were saying. But I didn't notice that in this episode, but, I could be wrong. So from there, I'm sorry. Him coming in with the walker, that was hilarious. We go over to Officer Rhea and Zach. Pretty much, turns out in the past that Zach and his crew had a bet to who can hit it first. And, Rhea obviously was distraught by that because growing up, not being someone who people chose first and then to actually give it up for nothing more than a bet. And then basically Zach pretty much wined and dined her. But as soon as he got what he wanted, left her high and dry. And that's why she's so upset. And, she tries to make it seem like, what is it that you do if I can get you out of here? So I want you to take me on a proper dinner date and tell me how you're sorry and everything. And Zach actually has a mature moment. Now, here's the thing. I give Zach credit for what he was saying, and I do believe he was being genuine. But the thing I hate about how he's being written is you'll have these moments where he's legitimately maturing up, manning up. But then like an episode or two later, he'll do something as reckless as breaking into a hotel room and getting locked up in jail. So I want to praise this particular moment, but I feel like it's going to be ruined within the next 2 episodes by him doing something stupid. And I don't want that to happen because, once again, this episode did a great job of instilling within the fans that Zach is immature and a goof up, but he does take his job seriously. And that was a good thing to have that scene where one of the coworkers called Danny because he was legitimately concerned that Zach hadn't shown up. And even Danny's like, yeah, we're roommates and everything, but yeah, he wouldn't just not show up. So I like that. but I'm just nervous that they're going to ruin it. So turns out bail was made. So he gets out, says he's sorry. Turns out it's Fatima who got him out. And I just love how he goes up to hug her. He's like, hey, get off me, get off me. It's like, look, I'm hungry. Let's go get dinner. So there's that aspect of it. And then from there, we go over to Pam and Karen at the salon, closing it down. Aaron shows up. Karen tells Pam to bounce because, last thing she needs to do is overhear something again. And long story short, Aaron's like, he's sorry about what happened. Karen's like, look, you ain't got nothing to be sorry about. Well, no, not the whole Zach thing, but the situation, with the drinking and, trying to, get with you, even though I don't regret that. And Karen makes it clear, look, I'm not staying at the hotel with you. Okay, that's fine. But can I at least just take you out to dinner? And turns out it's like, well, I'm going to a gay bar with some friends, so I don't know if you want to go to that. Sure. It's like, wait, for real? Well, no wife, no kids with no responsibilities. Okay, let's go. I'm not, I mean, given that he's a pastor, would that be the proper scene for him to be at? I mean, he said that, hey, I won't drink, I'll drive. I mean, that way, if you want to drink, you can, but don't worry about me. I'm not drinking. Look, I'm just saying, I don't know. It's like, is it like hip, I don't know, against the word to go to a gay bar as a pastor? I mean, he's not going to drink. Obviously, he's not, gay, but I'm just curious. But then again, I don't know. He just wants to be with Karen, so it is what it is. So once again, we got Danny calling Preston, leaving voicemail, and Sabrina comes over, pretty much goes to pick her up for the big event, and tells her to change clothes. Like, look, the man ain't interested in me. I'm just going to wear what I'm wearing now from work and go on my business. And pretty much breaks down the whole situation with Preston, saying that, she thinks she overreacted, I guess is what Sabrina gets that from Danny's conversation. Danny's kind of nonchalant about it. And she pretty much states like, oh, they're not even dating. Even though she doesn't really answer the question, I guess Danny was just saying they were effing around and that was it. And I guess she does kind of say without saying it fully that she feels she overreacted to Preston with the whole cowboy hat and the pot to piston and everything. And I think I did a video on this about, did Danny overreact? But it's like, what about when you handcuffed him? Like, isn't that a role reversal thing where the black person's in power while the white person's in a vulnerable state? But because the roles were reversed, where he was the one standing over you, it's not okay. But when you're standing over him, it's okay. I mean, I'm just saying, I think that she overreacted. And finally, we go over to Andy and Gary, and I'll do a separate video on this, but long story short, she comes in, tells them the good news. Hey, things went well at work. The FBI is going to look into it. And Gary's like, fine, I'll get your stuff back as soon as I can tomorrow morning. It's like, because I think she said something like, yeah, they're going to help you. And then wait, don't you mean help us? Like, well, I mean you specifically, because I'm not really in this. So they're, pretty much going to let me off the hook. And pretty much breaking down that things went well. But then Gary did that. What about the Hayden guy? Long story short, they bigger back and forth about the fact that Gary doesn't want Andy to talk with any man. That's literally what it boils down to. Like, you don't talk to him, you don't see him. I don't want anyone messing around with what's mine. And that literally kind of goes back to what Paris was saying about, I want to put in my bid. So pretty much like Andy snaps back at the fact that you're mad because these people are trying to help me get my apartment. Well, get your shitty ass apartment and everything. Pretty much belittling everything she does, from her career to where she was living. Andy literally tries to break it down. Look, if we're going to be together, this whole jealousy thing ain't going to work. And then what gets me is how Gary doesn't want Andy talking to any guys, even though these are people who can help him out and her out. Yet he pretty much tells her to get lost because, hey, my guy got me a female lawyer to help me out. So it's okay for Gary to get a female assistant when it comes to this law stuff, but Andy can't have a male assistant when it comes to the law stuff. Not to mention the fact that you question her loyalty given the fact that you are a married man having an affair. So is it right to give Andy credit in this moment? I don't know. Because he's like, fine, you know what? We're done. Don't call me and I want my money back. You ain't getting shit from me. So that $250,000, is it a good idea for her to keep it? I don't know. It really is interesting to say the least, because of the fact that even though it seems Gary and Andy might be done for now, that doesn't mean the money wouldn't come up in a future plot point this season. So, with that being said, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I just feel like, Danny's overreacting now. She's facing the consequences of it. And it's like, I hope it isn't once again with her pretty much saying, oh, Preston, screw him. And then if she sees him with somebody else, like she won't overreact because she did this. Pretty much kind of like Zach. Well, technically, I don't blame Zach because Karen made her own choices to pick Aaron. It was Zach who overreacted. And with Andy, she's just so wishy-washy, like, so in the next episode, you're going to call up Paris to go to the club with you, the gay bar, even though you're only calling him out of spite because of what happened with Gary. So Paris is the nice guy who's pretty much on the bench until Andy wants to call him up. So yeah, because things went sour with Gary, now you want to call up Paris. And then with the whole Sabrina situation, her calling Maurice seemed a bit, well, I guess it was like a friendly warning, like, hey, I don't know how long you want to play this whole disability thing, but they brought somebody in here new to work. Also, we saw another female bank teller, so Sabrina and Maurice aren't the only ones that work at the bank, which is good. And then with Karen, I don't know why the girls were giving her such a hard time because of the fact that she had nothing to do with Zach making the decision that he did to actually burst into the hotel room and do what he did, landing him in jail. So I don't know why Danny and Andy were trying to make her feel bad for not getting Zach out of jail for what he was doing. And like I said before, if Andy really wanted to get him out of jail or get Karen to get him out of jail, why didn't she put up the $5,000? So I mean, I honestly don't see why Karen is expected to do what they feel was right. But other than that, yeah, pretty solid episode. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month.